Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to Lotus Tarot TV 444. In today's podcast, I'll be talking about some triggering things, so please be forewarned. I just wanted to come on here to share my experiences with you all. There have been a lot of you that have been asking if I'm okay, what's been going on. So this is just to clear the air and to give you guys some clarity on what's been going on my end. Now, I want you guys to know, this does not mean that I'm quitting tarot or that I'm quitting YouTube. But in order to preserve my mental health, I've taken a step back just due to current circumstances surrounding the pandemic and, also concerning some of my own personal issues that have been very triggering for me lately on top of the stressors of this whole pandemic. Now, one thing in particular that I've noticed is back a couple of months ago, I had shared a channeled message in regards to everyone needing to stay inside as much as possible. I discussed that there would be a spike in suicides, homicides, and car accidents, things of that nature. Now, when I shared that channeled message with you guys, I didn't want to be the bearer of bad news, but it was a message that I felt like needed to be shared. And at the time, I didn't really understand the gravity behind all of that. But I've been noticing more so, especially, with people that are on social media, people that are on Twitch, people that are on YouTube, even just public figures as well. I've noticed that it's been happening on a mass scale. And although I don't necessarily feel like the pandemic is necessarily the broad cause of the spike in these happenstances, but I do feel like it's given some of us that added push. Now, my thing has always been, struggling with wanting to be the person that gives strength to my viewers and wanting to be the person that people can go to during times like these and during stressful times in general. But I am only human, and just dealing with the issues behind being an empath. I've done all kinds of things throughout my life to try and distract myself from all of these emotions and vibrations that I've been picking up on. But I can't pretend any longer that these feelings and how everybody else is feeling has become a bit overwhelming for me. Almost to the point to where I kind of feel like I'm backsliding a little bit. Now, my biggest passion has been focused on wanting to be the light in this too often dim world that we live in. But sometimes I forget that I need that for myself as well. And being the person, the go-to person, so to speak, that I've made myself, I've tried to make myself ignore the fact that I don't really have anyone to go to talk about these things. Or rather, I don't have anyone that I can trust and confide in on that same level. And so it's been rough. Now, I don't want to bring down the mood, and I don't want this to be a woe is me pity party sort of podcast, but I do want to come clean, and I want to be open about what I'm really feeling, because pretending that I'm not feeling these things is only adding to the problem. It's only compounding the problem. I also wanted to come on here to shed some light on the fact that a lot of us may be going through the same thing. A lot of us may not have someone to go to express ourselves, or we don't have, people in our lives that we can trust and confide in, but we have become the person that people can go to, use us as a sounding board, or, we've become the person that people can go to, that they can confide in. But the danger behind this, and the danger behind staying silent about this particular issue, is only going to add to this deep sense of loneliness that I think a lot of us have been feeling, especially during this pandemic. Having to be, on lockdown, having to isolate ourselves. Now, in my case, especially being an empath as it is, isolation has been my saving grace in a way, but it's also been a double-edged sword. It keeps me protected in a sense from absorbing everyone's emotions, but it doesn't stop the fact that I can feel everyone and everything all of the time. It also doesn't take away from the fact that we all need somebody to lean on. And suffering through loneliness, depression, anxiety, and dealing with suicidal thoughts alone, not only is that a recipe for disaster, but that is the perfect recipe for self-sabotage and self-destructive habits returning or developing. And something inside of me keeps urging me to talk about these things. But, I've been wanting to get myself to a place where I'm more optimistic, or I'm a lot stronger emotionally and mentally before I try to, start reading for everyone again, and before I try to start, trying to help those around me. Now, this may sound a little bit all over the place, you guys, but I decided that coming on here and speaking from the heart is the best thing that I could do for myself, and hopefully it could help someone else out there that may be suffering in silence right now. I've been doing a lot of thinking as well, on top of the loneliness and depression and anxiety, especially concerning finances, concerning our home, concerning bills, concerning our livelihoods. There's also a big problem where those of us in recovery, when it comes to addiction, find ourselves backsliding. Now, this is not to cast judgment on anyone out there that is in fact in recovery and that may be dealing with relapse, because the path to recovery is never a straight line. Just like in life, life is also not a straight line. But suffering through these sorts of things alone, without the proper support system, can be tough. And I've been sitting here trying to rack my brain, trying to figure out what I can do for my community to give that sense of support that some of us may not have currently. Now, I've been sharing the Discord server that I include in the description box below. Now, granted, there are a lot of links that you'll have to sift through, but this kind of fell short. I didn't really push for this to become a thing, but right now more than ever, I feel like a lot of us could benefit from that. And you know what? Guys, drop your comments below of some of the ways that you have been maintaining a healthy state of mind, a healthy state of being. And if you guys have ideas that you would like me to implement on this channel, such as creating a support group, through this Discord server, which is one. But if you guys have any other ideas of ways that we can uplift each other and to help each other through these extremely overwhelming and stressful times, drop your ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys have in mind, and I would be happy to implement these ideas on my channel. Now, as for readings, as a side note, I want you guys to know, yes, I will still be continuing to do readings, but as stated before, when I absorb everything and everyone around me, that becomes a challenge, and I don't want that to seep into future readings. So right now, again, I'm taking a step back. I am taking the time to regroup. And once I feel like I am at a point to where I can be of service, when I feel like I've reached a point where I can bring positivity and bring light to this community, I will be back. And it won't be too long, you guys, but especially looking at some of these stories concerning some of these social media influencers that are suffering through some of these, these same issues, whether it's suicide, depression, loneliness, anxiety, addiction, things of that nature, just seeing the major uptick in just how taxing it could be to one's mental health. I want to be careful to not allow myself to fall off the deep end, because there have been a few times where I almost did. I'm looking at the numbers. I'm not satisfied with the numbers. I'm not satisfied with, the promotion or lack thereof of my channel, and all these different things that really have no bearing on my quality of life, but they do affect one's mental health. I mean, even those of you that are on social media, you don't even have to be a social media influencer for this to be a major factor in your life. But to those of you on social media, I frequently take social media breaks. And for some of us, that may become a more permanent solution, to where we're not getting wrapped up with the negativity that we see in other people's posts, and just through scrolling and getting sucked into the drama and melodramas of those around us, and dealing with, the bullying. I've seen that that's been happening a lot more as well, especially when it comes to social media. So, a lot of us can be affected in a massive way. And we have to be careful not to allow these things, these outer things, to push us over the edge. And we have to be careful not to suffer in silence. Even if it's reaching out and finding counseling or seeking mentorship. Even if it is, doing research in regards to different diagnoses that some of us may have received, or whatever the case may be. Whatever it is that can bring you the clarity and relief that you're seeking, we all need to take the time to do so. And I think right now a lot of us need to disconnect. But more so, we all need to come together in some way. And we need to be supportive of one another, especially during this stressful time. So once again, you guys, thank you so much for taking the time to listen. If this was a little bit all over the place, I do apologize, but this is straight from the heart. And once again, drop your comments below of some of the ideas that you would like me to implement on this channel. And until next time, stay blessed, not stressed. Peace and love.